Same time you're coming to terms with all of this processing, all of the things that you've been through at war, and then also processing every piece of information that you've taken in through going down every rabbit hole.
This is the problem with the world right now today, yeah? People are putting everything in front of their morals. Like,
the way that you're programmed, especially as a paratrooper, is to attack the enemy with like the utmost level of aggression.
I think I walked about 500 kilometers. And
500 k.
No, wait, hold on.
You did not.
Hold on. I definitely didn't walk that long.
Throw yourself into the deep end of hard work and try to build yourself into the toughest fucking man you can be.
People need to be vetted. We do have an immigration problem in this country, and the people coming in have to be vetted. Yeah. Boris Johnson went on the TV and said, listen, right, the virus has now evolved. Everyone has to crawl.
A couple of days went by, and actually a few days later, I attempted suicide, actually.
All right. So we got Ricky on the show. Ricky, what are you saying, brother?
I'm all good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Is that Ricky?
There's again.
That's me. That's the fourth handshake I've given you today.
You messed up the first one.
I messed it up. I give you a little lady handshake. Yeah, it's all right.
The handshake has to be proper with Ricky though, because as far as like
he's judged me from that.
But I mean, as far as serious people goes, Ricky is about as serious as it gets. Like from what I know of Ricky, and I haven't known Ricky a long time, but he is, I say, a man very sort of similar to myself in respect that he is all action and zero talk. Like the opposite of most people in today's fucking society, basically, innit? Ricky means fucking business. Yeah. So Ricky, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little intro.
Okay, so I'm a former paratrooper. Served in the military from when I was 17. Left when I was 22. When I left, I pretty much went straight into a downward spiral with my mental health. And
how many tours did you do when you was in the military?
So 3 tours in Afghanistan.
That's some.
How long's the tour again?
So the first tour was 6 months. The second tour I spent 8 weeks out there, so not really a full one. And the third one being another 6 months.
All right. Okay.
Spent some time down in South America as well, training Belizean district forces. And as I say, when I come out, I had my first introduction to drugs. My mental health was, as I say, just all over the shop really. I was battling with combat post-traumatic stress disorder, which I didn't really acknowledge for a very long time. I was diagnosed with it, and that's why I come out the army. And yeah, it took me a long time to come to terms with that. And
did you, sorry to cut in, with that post-traumatic stuff, I know this is just like a straight out there question. Did you ever kill anyone? Confirmed kills or unconfirmed? Or?
Yeah.
So you had to live with that basically? Yeah.
That was never the problem.
No.
That was never the problem for me. I don't have a single, not so much, it's difficult to say I don't have any regrets, because obviously knowing the way that the world works now.
But you've grown up, that's the thing, you've smartened up to that.
Exactly. Well, I think that was what really brought on the PTSD, was actually the awakening, because I had my awakening whilst I was in service.
Yeah.
So I was made aware of how the banking system works, how the military-industrial complex works, so on and so forth, whilst I was still serving. And served a complete tour out in Afghanistan with that knowledge.
And it's like they prey on young, able men who are sort of, genuinely good people who are patriotic and want to, protect their people of their country. They prey on men like that until those men grow up and realise, hold on 1 minute, I'm basically being played for a fool here, innit?
Yeah.
So I'm fighting some old man's agenda and not actually doing what I set out to do,
That's exactly right.
So are you saying that you didn't get PTSD from any of the stuff you saw out there? It's more about being like an awareness of what's going on in the world?
It was more so an awareness of what was going on, and I think a feeling of guilt. That was the overwhelming emotion.
Guilt from what?
Guilt from having taken life.
Okay.
As I say, it's not so much the guy on the other end,
It's the
my
reason,
weapon.
maybe.
that's someone's dad, that's someone's brother, that's someone's son. We both asked to be there.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? But the one thing that did really get to me was, in particular, was seeing the effects that war has on kids.
Yeah.
You know, because they are as innocent as anybody
course,
comes, right? They haven't got a say in what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, they're not able to defend themselves
Yeah.
in any and sometimes, you know, it's one of the unfortunate sides of war.
I completely
They
get that whole.
they can get caught in the middle of things, and I've seen that happen, you know, firsthand.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I actually became a father myself that I think actually that, you know, I had a sense of guilt already, but that became even more so overwhelming.
Okay.
The whole
when I
world
did-
changes when you become a parent. man.
Exactly
Your whole
that, yeah.
brain chemistry, your whole energy, the whole world, literally everything just changes.
Everything
Yeah,
changes.
yeah.
You change as a man completely.
yeah.
You know, and it was then when I started to look back on, you know, certain scenarios. I'll say, you know, maybe one particular scenario on its own was quite difficult to I guess live with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
I get that. You know, like the main sort of thing from your PTSD is basically living with what you've done, but you've been deceived in a way, right? That
Yeah.
was the main thing. I
Yeah.
get
The
that, man.
reasoning
I get
behind it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
the reason behind that.
massively
Because
deceived.
you set out to do good, but then after you've realised, actually, I didn't.
Yeah, I
don't
was
know
a
if I did.
terrorist.
Yeah.
You know,
That's it.
I was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
somebody else's country with
That's
a weapon, and you know, looking back on it now, I say this to everybody: if we had foreign boots on our soil today, and they were armed with, you know, high caliber weapons, they've got an air force, they've got, you know, X, Y, and Z,
Everything superior.
and we don't have anything apart from the ability to dig up a ditch in the road.
Of course, we're going to do that, aren't we?
You're going to do it. You know, we're driving down, you know, these people's streets, pointing high caliber weaponry at their homes, at their children, at their grandparents, and you're expecting no response. Of course, you're going to get a response.
It's just the normal order of things, the normal biology of things, isn't it? You know,
Yeah, but they're not here.
Yeah,
We
it's
are
just not
there.
here.
We're
It's
in
over
their
there and
country,
there.
you know what I mean? So it got to a point where I was like, look, I've seen too many bad things happen to good men, and you can only ride your luck
Yeah. Sooner or
so
later.
long anyway. Do you know what I mean? And it was a couple of close calls. Do you know what I mean? Even, you know, for myself, eventually your luck's going to run out. And I just thought, look, I ain't spending one more minute of my life holding a weapon in a foreign country so that the military-industrial complex and the globalists that are behind that industrial complex can line their pockets with money and push their agenda.
Benefit from everyone's suffering, including yours.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mad. You know, like, I don't know. I'm going to ask anyway, yeah. But you know, you talked about there was one incident that was the thing that triggered it all for you. Could you maybe go into that a little bit? Or
I'll go into it, yeah, why not? And I think it's important to actually talk about it anyway, regardless, because it really does contradict the entire kind of mission statement of NATO itself.
Yeah.
And the mission statement in Afghanistan was to win hearts and minds.
I don't think they've ever done that.
To win hearts and minds. That was all that was ever drummed into us. Come, lads, this is about hearts and minds, which it sounds quite difficult to believe anyway, you know, given the jobs that
Being sent out
we
there
were
to
being
do.
doing. But granted, okay, I was working within a different part of the military anyway. We was working under the Directorate of the Special Forces, which is, you know, different. So we're doing different things to the rest of the army. So understandably, our role and our taskings were going to be a little bit more direct in terms of dishing out violence, so to speak, than maybe the rest of the military. But there was one day in particular, we were out on a routine patrol, and we got into contact with the Taliban, and you know, the contact didn't last too long. You know, whatever, half hour long. we had extracted from that and got back to our PB, which is a patrol base. And a couple of hours later, I'm in the PB and I see a gentleman approaching the entrance. And this PB hadn't been built up. It wasn't lined with HESCO, which are like these big kind of boxes that you fill with stones and stuff. So you've got loads of armour around the camp. Do you know what I mean? So it was
strengthened walls.
It was quite strengthened walls. It was quite easy for him to come and approach the gate, and I could see what was going on. He's holding his daughter in his arms. He approaches the gate anyway, and I'd gone over to go and see what the issue was. I could see that, I didn't think he was a threat. He obviously wasn't a threat. And he had explained to the Afghan interpreter that his daughter had been caught in crossfire. So, you get it.
Was she alive or dead?
At that point, she was alive.
Yeah.
At that point, she was alive in a bad way, but alive. We happened to have a resupply coming in, say within the hour. We was expecting it.
Is that like medical supplies?
Food, whatever it be, ammunition, anything was coming in from Camp Bastion to this PB, and we were expecting it really soon enough that, I knew we were waiting for it. I went to go and speak to the guy that was in charge of our unit at the time at that PB, and said to him, look, we've got this situation here at the gate. This guy's brought his daughter along. She's in a bad way. We couldn't give her the help that she needed on that patrol base. We simply didn't have the medical equipment to do it. For what she needed, she would have needed to have gone back to the hospital
Transported
at Camp Bastion.
Yeah.
I said, look, we've got this chopper coming in from Bastion. It's going back to Bastion.
Yeah. Stick her on the chopper.
Get on the chopper and get back to Bastion, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And they weren't having none of it, man. They weren't having none of it.
I already know how this story ends.
They weren't having none of it. I had to go back and explain through the interpreter to this gentleman that I tried all I can, but there's nothing that I can do to help his daughter. And I had to watch that man turn around and walk back off into the distance, carrying his little girl, knowing full well that.
So we don't even know if she made it or not, but she probably didn't make it.
Mate, there's no chance
she was going to make it.
No.
That's enough to change something in you, though.
That was a pretty tough thing to live.
Yeah.
Because if I go through the scenario again and again in my head, and I think to myself, maybe I should have been more
pressing.
Maybe you should have pressed it more. Exactly that. Yeah. If I was the man I was today,
you would have 100%.
Yeah, I probably would have been in big fucking trouble for maybe what I would have done.
Probably would have done something.
Well, just taking the chopper or
dishonorably discharged on the same day.
I may well have been. I don't know. I feel like I would have handled the situation differently. And maybe I would have been a bit firmer in my attempt to try and.
But that's such a.
Chopper, but how the fuck are you?
That's such a hard thing to go through in your mind.
How
though,
are you winning hearts and minds?
Yeah.
How is that when if you're trying to win hearts and minds? The first thing you're going to do is try and whether it's a NATO round or it's a 7.62.
Don't matter, man. That's a child.
AK. It's a kid.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's
exactly.
That's a difficult one to live with, right there, man. That's right. Yeah. For me, if something like that,
And you see what I'm saying about when you then become a father yourself and you.
That multiplied by 10 after.
My boy was in hospital not too long ago. A few months back, he was in hospital. He come down with something called Stephen Johnson syndrome, which I had no idea what that was.
I've got no idea what it is.
And a lot of people in hospital don't. So what it is it's your body's reaction to either medication or just a basic kind of viral infection. And what it is the immune system goes into kind of like a hyper-reactive response. And 10% of the people that get it is fatal to them. My boy at the time, he's 8 years old. You know what I mean? And he's lying up in hospital on IV drips, medications. He went to Lewisham at first, and then he had to be blue lighted to the Evelina Hospital in central London, so it's pretty serious.
Even when it's not serious and it's just the tiniest little thing, it feels like a dagger through your heart.
It does,
kid, man.
it does.
So that must have been
just
difficult,
having that
right?
kind of worry there. I always kind of, you know, it's hard. You can't get it out of your head moments like that, but just kind of imagining what that man must have. You know, how fortunate I was to have my son in a country where he can be looked after
Medical
with
facilities.
exactly that man's got nothing apart from coming to us asking for help.
Yeah. And
How helpless must he have felt? Like there's nothing he can do for her. And he has
harsh
to walk.
reality is he probably walked off somewhere back to his little shack somewhere, and his daughter just died in his arms.
His daughter dies. Yeah.
That's a difficult one there, man. Oh yeah, 100%. That's enough to leave the military straight away.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So you left the military, I'm guessing, not long after that, or
We come back off of that tour, went to Belize, as I say, to go and train the Belizean district forces for 7 or 8 weeks. Came back from South America, and they put us on standby to go to Libya. There was big problems going on at that time in Libya, and I said to the boys, we were down at the company offices, and I said to the lads, look, I said, I'm going straight back up to my fucking room.
was it during Gaddafi? Was it something to do with Gaddafi there? Yeah,
I said, another guy that, is
been portrayed as the
painted
enemy.
with this certain brush, and exactly that. And I knew the score, do you know what I mean? And I said, there's absolutely no fucking way, lads. I said, look, I'm going back up to my room, boys. I'm boxing everything up. I said to my mate, my best mate at the time, I said, you can have my telly. And not long just bought this brand new fucking TV from Tesco. I said, that's yours. And I said, boys, I'm off. I'm not coming back. He said, fucking hell. They said, Ron, you're fucking off your head. My name was, back then they called me Ron. When I was on that last tour, good mate of mine become a good friend of mine on that tour. He'd only just met me, and then when I told him what my surname was, he said, it sounds like, it's Regan actually is my birth surname. I use my middle name nowadays for personal reasons, whatever. He said, it sounds like Ronald Reagan, so they called me Ron. That was my name. He said, Ron, you're off your fucking head. There's no way you're going to box your room up and just fuck off out the gate. But that's exactly what I did.
I can only imagine how that must have felt. It must have felt like walking out of prison or something. Like I'm free from these fucking shackles and emotional shackles.
Well, wasn't it the thing that happened when you was in Afghanistan, and then you thought about it a lot of time, and then you've decided to leave? Is that what it was, or was it something that happened in? Would you say Bolivia? Or?
No, Belize. No,
Belize. Sorry.
That was me. Just more just a training exercise. We weren't.
Well, what brought you to the point that say you're going to box up your stuff? Was you just just thinking about it all from before?
I was thinking about that for a long time.
Oh, okay, okay.
Throughout that entirety of that last tour, really.
Okay.
I was thinking, how can I be a part of this? Knowing how things work. This just doesn't sit right with me morally.
So you've been there, and you've been just like sitting down, thinking about all this stuff, and just like put it all together, and just said, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Yeah, pretty much. I just couldn't.
Can you even do that though? Can you just leave the army like that?
Well, no. I mean, I left the camp. Yeah, no one's going to stop you leaving the camp.
Oh, okay.
A couple of days went by, and then actually a few days later, I attempted suicide. Actually.
Oh, really?
So from that's when I think they kind of realised actually this guy's probably not feeling too fucking good, and kind of tried to set me on a pathway towards recovery.
So you got like a medical pass sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got that was the discharge from the army. Yeah, medical discharge.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I love what you just said as well. I think you said something like the morals kicked in for you, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I fucking love, bro.
If something doesn't sit right with me morally, mate, I can't do it like it's...
But this is the problem with the world right now today, yeah? People are putting everything in front of their morals, like the law, this, that. If you don't put your morals first, you're losing your integrity as a man. Like you're losing your integrity as a human.
Exactly that.
Because before anything, first things first, your morals have to come first.
Exactly that.
Like that's your identity.
Before your paycheck, before anything.
Everything.
And I lost a lot by walking away from the army. Listen, the Parachute Regiment is the greatest organisation on the face of the planet.
You know what? I love that. I'm a fucking skydiver.
Last, for me, is one of the very last outposts of solid, hard men.
Yeah.
That it really is. And we don't have a lot of them around anymore. But unfortunately, its strings are being pulled by people that are fucking evil.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work like that, I would never have left. You know, it was hard to leave. You know, it was hard to leave your friends. I thought that I was going to be. It was my intention to be in the military for as long as they'd have me, 22 years plus.
Yeah.
You know, and I never had a plan for after that. I had nothing in my brain other than I was going to serve in the Parachute Regiment for as long as I possibly could. So when I come out, I'm obviously then presented with, okay, now we're back into kind of like the real world, and I didn't have a clue what I was going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you
and
were-
also at the same time, you're coming to terms with all of this
Processing more shit. Yeah.
processing all of the things that you've been through at war, and then also processing everything, every piece of information that you've taken in through going down every rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people like
And it all starts
through the
connecting
COVID
up,
movement,
the
do you know
dots
what I mean?
start connecting.
It started for them in
Yeah.
2020. That's when they woke up. You know, I had my awakening, you know, a decade before that.
Yeah.
So I had everything come at me at once, mate. You know what I mean? It was just, you know, being a young lad, you know what I mean? 20, 21 years old is quite a lot to take on board. You're still at that age, really. Effectively, mate, you know,
You're still a kid at
still
that
a
age,
kid,
really.
really.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I get
You're
that,
100%,
man.
100%. Up until you're about 25, 26.
Yeah,
you're still
well,
like,
exactly.
you're
Yeah,
operating
right,
like
you know.
a
That's true. Even
teenager.
biologically, you know, the human male doesn't reach his sort of
Prefrontal cortex.
yeah, and even just your indigenous hormonal production levels, they don't reach their peak production levels until you're sort of in your mid to late 20s.
Your prefrontal cortex, like your consciousness, the thing that makes you,
Yeah.
isn't fully developed until you're 26 years old.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's even something
Yeah,
on its own,
that's
isn't
it right there.
You're operating
I mean-
you're operating like a bit of an animal up until that point. And your consciousness kicks in when you're 26, which is the maddest thing. You know, you said earlier, like really and truly, you're doing all this stuff. Yeah, you're in the army, and you're killing people, and you're doing all these things. Like, and it's for someone. It's just for someone who you don't really know. He's making these decisions on your behalf, getting you go and do stuff, and you're like, you've got no kind of say. It's no say in it. You're just doing all this kind of madness. Like, it's actually twisted. Like, when you think about it.
But that's the fucked up thing. That's the definition of a soldier, right?
Yeah.
You take orders.
He's got-
But where do those orders come from?
Yeah.
And you're right. It just probably leads right up to the top of a pyramid somewhere where there's some
This
evil fat
guy
old
just
man.
making decisions like you don't even know what he's making decisions based on.
It is.
You're just like,
a
yeah.
pawn in a
Yeah,
game
that's
of
it, you're
chess.
being
That's
used
all
as a
you
pawn.
are.
And the soldiers' prerogative is to be loyal and to follow orders and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, that realization point must have been like, I don't know. That's just
Mad.
That's
I
mad.
don't know,
isn't it?
innit? You must have gone through some massive tidal
Yeah.
wave of
Yeah,
like
because you go from one extreme to the other. Do you know what I mean? The way that you're programmed, especially as a paratrooper, is to attack the enemy with like the utmost level of aggression,
Hammer and nail, bang,
and
done.
that is fucking it. There's no questions asked. You know, we're going to war. You're almost primed to have like a fucking like a taste for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a wanting to go and do what you've been trained to do.
Special Forces
That's what they
Parachute
want.
Regiment. That's it. That's
what
the
they want.
elite right there.
I suppose
isn't
if you didn't think like that, you wouldn't.
it wouldn't be in the
It wouldn't,
Special
it wouldn't be
Forces.
very effective to have you operating, you know, as that type of soldier.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you, is very much is to go from that way of thinking to the complete opposite.
It's mad.
lot-
That
Why
journey's
You
mad.
can't you was talking about morals earlier. You can't really be a soldier and have morals, and you can't have to just blank yourself off kind of thing, innit? If you want to be an actual effective soldier,
Yeah, you can't really think about
stuff.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
how
yeah.
you feel about stuff.
You shouldn't be thinking about the
Take orders,
the
don't
moral
think about it.
ramifications
Yeah.
of what you're doing.
yeah.
That's when you will become effectively, a liability.
Yeah. They want you to do, don't think. basically.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Do not think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that you need to be thinking about doing is the task at hand, not
Yeah.
who it's affecting, who's giving the orders,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's mad.
That's how they prey on that, innit?
It's a
They
form
prey
of
on the whole
brainwashing,
thing.
really.
It is. It really is, isn't it? It really is. And you're right. You know, like I know a lot of Parachute Regiment soldier. You know, from the Parachute Regiment, I know quite a few of them through my skydiving, and they're all fucking solid, hard men. So I completely agree with you there. And what I know of you and Marco, two of the most serious guys I know in it. So yeah, they prey on that, man.
This is going to be the dumbest thing that I'm ever going to say, but I'm going to say it because that's what I'm here for. Yeah? But I didn't even know paratrooper meant. Is it parachute trooper?
No,
Parachute Regiment.
Paratrooper.
So parachute regiment. So you're basically you're specialising in jumping out of planes and getting in.
It's go on. I'll let
we
you
have that capability.
Oh, okay.
That is.
Why call it that then?
What our capability is, but the regiment itself hasn't jumped officially since the Suez conflict, which was
Okay.
a long
Right.
time
Oh,
ago.
wow. But that was your that was the icing for you guys, like being able to jump out of planes and just jump into the
as you
mix.
say, that capability is always there if needed.
Oh, okay.
Although the regiment hasn't officially jumped, I mean, special forces have completed loads of jumps since then. You know, in the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, and whatnot. I haven't personally.
Oh, right.
I haven't been, fortunate enough to do that, or unfortunate enough, whichever.
You've
way you
done
wanna
some
look at it.
jumps though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, everyone has to
training.
jump.
Yeah.
I was
Everyone
going to
has
say,
to
who's a better skydiver? I was just about to say that.
Everyone has to complete the course. Oh, that would be Andreas. Because believe it or not,
Mine's sports skydiving.
we can't just step out of the military and go
Skydive.
and pick up a parachute and start jumping.
Oh, you can't?
No, we don't get that sort of qualification. So
Okay,
it's
okay.
I'd have to go through exactly the same course that Andreas has been through to get my tickets. So as far as experience in the air goes, he's got a lot more than me.
And they use different canopies as well. It's like the big brown canopies, which have really little control over where they sort of manoeuvre and
And
fly.
Andreas has got obviously the luxury of being able to jump out completely. It's just him and his shoe. When you
He's
jump
got all this gear.
with 150 pounds.
Oh, yeah,
worth of
shit.
fucking,
Nuts, bro. It's nuts.
How much
It's
you weigh
nuts.
with all of that?
Sorry.
How much did you weigh with all of that stuff on you? Do you know?
Well, as I say, you can be carrying 150 pounds worth, plus your own body weight.
Oh, damn.
Probably
come down,
more than
shoot down like
300 pounds
like
in
an
weight
actual
under
bullet.
the canopy.
You do. I mean, you do a lot of training in the hangars at Bryce Norton where you have your jumps course.
Okay.
A lot of that is literally just practicing again and again and again the landing.
All right.
Because it is quite, it's quite dangerous. You hit the ground with quite a lot of force, especially when you've got that amount of gear.
Yeah, even if you got a parachute, innit? Even if you're like, that's
Well, even
mad.
without it, yeah. I mean, as we use different canopies, so like if you're a skydiver, I see these guys coming down and they're landing on their own 2 feet. They come to almost land whilst you're running on the ground.
Oh, serious?
We can't do that with our canopies.
yeah.
We if there's no wind as well,
We're
we're just
like-
coming straight down.
Yeah, we're literally like canopy pilots. We can control where we want to go, where we want to land, and what speed. Like if you can put literally a pound coin in the middle of a field, and I can land on that pound coin.
Exactly that.
Whereas with them, you draw a giant square on a 1 mile radius
You're
on the
landing
map,
somewhere.
and he'll hopefully get inside.
That's exactly it.
That is mad. Oh, flipping. Oh, yeah.
It's a different type of thing, innit? Yeah.
So how long ago was that anyway? So you've left Belize, yeah?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
How long is that from now?
we come back from Belize in 2011.
2011.
2011.
And so from that, you were like, you've just got straight into the activist stuff. Well, how did it go from there?
Well, as I say, like between coming out of the army and then the start of COVID, I was the complete, living life just completely the opposite way I'm living today. I was a nobody, mate. I'd gone from being, a really confident young man that was really disciplined to being, as I said, one of the weakest men on the face of the planet with absolutely no self-discipline.
And that was what? Because of the drug use?
I think it was. I think it was drug use.
What drugs?
It started off with cannabis, which at the time, I always say this, it's a funny one with cannabis. It saved my life at the time. When I came out of the military, they were trying to put me on all sorts of different medications and whatnot, and it was just making
That
the
would have just
situation
fucked you
worse.
up even worse.
Yeah, it did. And I'd come across a few research papers and read a little bit about US veterans using cannabis to help them with post-traumatic stress disorder. So started using it, and it did help. But I don't know if it's just my personality, but when I find something that I like to do, I am absolutely all in on it.
addictive. Yeah,
Very-
it
yeah,
can.
got an addictive
I mean, cannabis is
personality,
addictive,
you know.
isn't it, man?
I think it is, and a lot of people say it's not, but I mean, I think it
Well,
is.
you don't get
I think it's
addicted
the
to the
feeling.
actual. Yeah, you get addicted
It's
to
the
the feeling.
feeling. It's like
it's not. It's not actually
almost, like,
addictive.
innit? Because you're right. If you can regulate how much you use it, if you can limit it to maybe once or twice a week, just a little one in the evening or whatever, to regulate your mood and your emotions, then it's really effective. But when you're doing it like some of these guys out there, 4 or 5 times a day, they wake up in the morning. Wake up in the morning before you've even started eating breakfast.
That was my breakfast.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd be smoking a joint on the way to work. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually that led on to cocaine as well.
Yeah.
And then once that started, it was fucking hell. It was game over, man. I got
Was there any alcohol in there as well?
No, do you know what? Thankfully, I've never ever been one for alcohol. I've never really liked.
You did cocaine without drinking?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, you was hardcore.
Ended
You're
up,
like a
ended up getting in some
stockbroker.
serious trouble.
Yeah, no, that's mad. Damn.
But you know what? To be fair, out of those 3 there, cannabis, cocaine, and alcohol. I mean, I've never done cocaine, but I'd say that alcohol is probably the most damaging to your body anyway. So you probably got lucky there.
You reckon? I don't think so. I think cocaine's probably worse, man. Cocaine fucks up your stomach, acids. It fucks up the thing at the back of your nose.
Statistics. How many people
That's
have
'cause more
died from cocaine? How many people have died from alcohol? It's like,
Yeah.
But it's because cocaine's illegal, though. If cocaine was legal, it might balance it out a little bit. Like, I think because everyone is so easily
it
accessible.
might be illegal, but I'd say the
man.
actual amount of
they
people
sell
using it
alcohol
around
in
the
Sainsbury's, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, so anyone can get alcohol. So,
but
like,
I mean, the amount of people using cocaine and alcohol around the world, I'd say it's probably not that too different. It's like,
No, I agree. Because I was selling it at one point, and the amount of people that take cocaine that you would never suspect,
even think about
take,
it.
yeah, it's mad.
That really did open my eyes. I was thinking, fuck, this person's on it. This person's on it. This person's, you know what I mean?
People even doing crack. Like, you wouldn't even... Some rich
The
people are doing
crackheads are-
crack. I'm not even joking. Some rich people, they can afford the habit and they just do crack all the time. You don't even know it. They can just afford it.
That's fucking mental.
Launch into the next enterprise and
Yeah,
then go
just
to work. The next
cracking
day.
out.
People
yeah.
are using something nowadays.
Yeah.
I think it's important to actually, know, that the number of people taking it is fucking abnormal.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with society as a whole.
Yeah.
For that many people to feel
It's true.
that they need
The escape.
to escape reality.
Yeah.
How
We
fucking
have-
bad is life?
We have a big drug culture in this country, though, isn't it? Like,
Massive
I
drug
don't know if it's in the country. Maybe in London. Or is it in
Well,
the
I
country?
think it's in Western civilizations.
Oh,
general.
yeah, but yes, I agree.
It's
Yeah,
Western
you're
civilization.
right,
Because
you're
you go to third world countries, they don't have drug problems, bro. I spent the most part of like the last couple of years traveling in Africa. Nobody does fuck all over there. No one does drugs.
All the documentaries I've ever watched, they're all just sniffing glue and stuff or whatever they're doing. They do better that over there.
I did it honestly. You don't see none of it. I mean, they'll smoke a little bit of like natural bushwhacker weed. Or
What's
whatever.
that island you went to where you skydived and I was saying he's going to get lost? What was that island?
Zanzibar?
Nah, it was a small one. And it was
Seychelles?
Seychelles, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a super big heroin problem in Seychelles. You know
Really?
that? Massive heroin problem. You didn't even know that?
I did not see none of that. They had a little bit of weed.
Obviously,
there.
where you are, you're in the tourist parts and stuff
I
like
guess so. I went to 2 different islands, Pralin and La Digue. I didn't see any drug problems. Everywhere I've been in any third world country, I don't see drug problems, man. Like here in Western countries, I just see it left, right, and centre, man.
Yeah,
but then
that's
again, I'm not saying it don't go on, but it just I think I can safely say it doesn't go on at the same scale.
Yeah, okay.
People have got real problems to deal with there, like forget trying to escape reality through drugs. They actually fucking need to put some food on their table.
That's why they do it, innit? Like, that's why they're like, I can't eat it, just let me get drugged
get
up.
some drugs instead. Just
Like, it's
smoke
escapism.
some crack.
It's
Yeah.
literally escapism, isn't it? You want to escape from reality, like, yeah.
It is escapism.
This is what I think it's so bizarre, because it's like those people out there in third world countries, as you say, they've really got to do real shit to put food on the table. It's like, you'd think that those are the kind of people that want to escape reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Reality is fucking shit.
Yeah.
Over here, we've got everything.
Yeah, no,
that you
that's
could want.
so true,
And it's
yeah.
like, everyone's so fucking weak.
It's the social pressures, though, isn't it? Like, pressures of society, like, to do better or to do more or to do this or do that, see this person, that. There's too much competition. It just crashes people. Everyone's just trying to
But I
get
think-
away from it all.
Yeah, there's that, and I think people have just, if we go back to like the whole morals thing we were talking about, people have just like sold their souls a long time ago anyway, so it don't really matter for them, like it's just like, yeah, whatever, let's just chase this high or that high or whatever.
That's
because
what
their
they want.
morals are right.
We live in a society of, especially with fucking men, and it pains me to see it with men. because men should be strong. They should be fucking able to provide. They should be setting
The backbone
examples
of their household.
Exactly,
at the very
that,
least.
setting examples for the younger kids. And it's like every, 9 out of 10 men nowadays, what they want is they want that feel good, they want that dopamine, but they don't want to fucking work for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's
Afraid
not
to
just
put
the
in the
escape
work.
from reality.
Yeah.
They just want to feel good, and they want it at the cost of nothing.
Yeah.
And I can't get my fucking head around how you can go to bed at night and look yourself in the mirror and feel good about being that kind of man, because I've been that man.
Yeah.
And I couldn't look myself in the mirror, mate. You know what I mean? I'd look, every time I'd look in the mirror, I'd feel fucking ashamed. And I think not just because of what I was doing, the way I was living life, but because I knew that I had the potential to be more. Everyone's got the potential to operate at such a level that they haven't even got a fucking clue. So many people just going around fucking life with their head in their phones. They don't even know what they're capable of.
That's what society does to you right now. It just keeps you numbed down, like suppressed, innit?
That's it, though.
Yeah.
Everything. It's not just the drugs, it's just everything, innit?
Our whole
Everything.
society is built on doing that, though, keeping us suppressed, innit? Whether it's schools and, just the way that it's all fixed. It's meant to keep you in that kind of I'm a worker mindset.
They want you to be a cog in the system.
Yeah, they want to be a cog.
Anything other than a cog in the system, you're a problem, a threat, an issue of some sort to the,
That
to
is
the
exactly
system.
right.
And
And this is why I tell everybody that the biggest fuck you that you can give to the establishment is to take control of your mental health and your physical health.
Yeah.
And you say no to all of the temptations that they put in front of you, because they're everywhere. It's the cigarettes in the shop. It's the fucking bright colours of all of the fucking vaping pens in the fucking off license.
alcohol, the Netflix,
the alcohol,
the
the drugs are so
Disney,
easily
everything.
accessible. Exactly that. They want you fixed to a fucking screen all day, immersing yourself in a fake reality on a PlayStation. They've done such a good job at it, mate. They have done a fucking.
They have done a good job at it. That is for sure, innit? But but this is what I'm saying. It really just comes back to that whole priorities and morals. Because if you have a true grip on that, do you know what I'm saying? You'll never waver from that. You might enjoy a little bit. I mean, every now and then I'll watch a bit of TV or this or that. I might have a little smoke at the bushwhacker every now and then or whatever. But my morals are my fucking morals. I can't cross that line and then look at myself or be able to put my head on the pillow at night and see myself as a man or as a father, because once you've crossed that line, you've given away your integrity as a man and as a father. So it boils down to that for me in the end of it.
Yeah.
But so Ricky, we met back in, what was it? I think it was 2020 or 2021, I think it was,
One
innit?
or two, mate.
Yeah. I remember you and Marco turned up fucking full on military mode to what I think it was one of the first protests that me and a couple of the boys organised, didn't it? And then, you was there. I was like, these guys are fucking serious.
We went to.
It was the BBC and ITV
the BBC,
headquarters
that's right.
over in White City, innit? Yeah,
That's the one, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I remember I met you lot then, and it was like, I fucking love these guys.
Well, we couldn't not show up, man. It's like we had to do something.
Yeah, and then you came. I think you was on nearly all of them after that, wasn't you? You was back in it.
We were pretty much everything that we could come to. We did. Despite the backlash, because we got a lot of backlash after that.
Yeah.
That first one that we went out on.
Yeah,
The BBC.
we got. You know what? I mean, we did. I think it was about maybe 5 or 10 sort of like midweekers like that.
Yeah.
But I think they were more effective than they were. All the million marches and this and that.
Far more effective. Because we had a purpose, and
that's it. Yeah.
There was an actual kind of. There was an objective to what we were trying to achieve, rather than
It's a party on the street.
a party through the streets, which I never really understood. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good for the soul
Yeah.
to get so many people together and finish the day off with a party in Hyde Park and a couple of barbecues, and that was great because so many people got to connect with people that were like-minded, and a lot of people have got a lot of friends from that they've had, since then, a lot of friends
Lifelong
for life.
friends now,
Yeah. So I could see why it was, necessary to kind of do that. But at the same time, I couldn't help but think that, fucking hell, those sorts of numbers that you'd get for those bigger protests.
We could have ended it in one day if we just had an objective.
And it was just like, the objective I had in my fucking mind was like, look, maybe let's not go to the BBC, maybe let's go to the Houses of Parliament, or, you know what I mean?
Run up in there, innit?
Fucking jump the gate at Downing Street.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? There is so many more of us than there are of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think in London there's about, I don't know the exact number anymore, but I think we're down to about 16,000 police in total or something like that. But yeah, if any one of them marches, I remember at one of them we had over 1 million. Like it just would have been game over for them right there and then, and it would have been done in it. But yeah, there was no direction with them weekend ones running through the street. I remember you came to the one where we went to the Scotland Yard as well. You and Marco were right there at the front door, like ready to kick down Scotland Yard.
Yeah. What was you doing at Scotland Yard? What was happening?
We went down there to hand in evidence, didn't we?
Yeah, so we organised some sort of protest where basically this is when it was all coming out. Like a lot of people were getting vaccine injured, dying from the vaccine and everything. So a case had been created by a former police officer called Mark Sexton. And there was a case number, so it basically was trying to consolidate all the evidence into this case number, and people were going to police stations, handing in evidence and whatever. So we just basically called for one sort of big mass evidence dump. Everyone comes down to Scotland Yard with their evidence, and we sort of hand it in or whatever, innit? But yeah, I think Scotland Yard were like, look, they confirmed that day there is a case going, because there was a lot of like, the media were trying to say, no, there's not a case. So they confirmed there is a case being investigated. Whether they were fucking investigating or not, we don't, it's fucking, we know the police aren't impartial anymore. They're just fucking taking orders from the government, whatever sort of agency or department. But they confirmed we did have a case, there was a case being investigated. And I think, what else did they say? They said, well, you can't hand your evidence here, but you can go to a police station.
Go to other police stations. I think we went to Charing Cross after
Charing Cross, that was it. Charing Cross, yeah. So we walked on down to Charing Cross. People handed in some evidence or whatever. But yeah, like those ones there, I enjoyed them more than any of the other sort of protests, man. They were effective. Like you said, we're then objective, innit?
Yeah, that's right. When you've got an objective, everyone knows that there's at least a point to what you're doing. Yeah. It doesn't feel like the day's been... I guess it's not sort of wasted, but yeah.
It's like kind of wasted when you think back here, innit? Anyway, like the whole of fucking COVID was one big sort of party for most people anyway.
It was, yeah. For me, like, I wish we could go back. If we could turn the clock back.
So it would have done so much different.
I think we could have gone a little bit harder.
100%.
But that's only because you got the experience, right? Because you went through the stuff that you got, you know more. So you could go back and do more kind of thing.
Well, that's it. I mean,
I think even just as the average person, he's military minded. Like people could have done that 4 times over and still not have been at the mindset that Ricky would have been at. But
I think if they try and pull anything like that again, lockdowns, I think it's going to be a completely different outcome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they will try. They're going to try some sort of climate lockdown. Well, I mean, they're trying to do it, but just sort of little bits, with all these 15-minute cities, and they're slowly bringing in LTNs. It's a different approach
now from them, isn't it? It seems to be like they're kind of doing everything
smaller, 2 steps forward,
exactly
1 step back, 2 steps forward,
They're kind of just sneaking everything in under the radar.
Don't fuck with me now, yeah? Did I say it right?
No, you didn't.
For fuck's sake.
He says 2 steps forward, 1 step back every time, but it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah,
that's okay.
You get a point.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's funny. The way. I mean, that's the way they've always done it, right? Until COVID, they thought, right, let's just try and take a big old bite out of them.
Yeah.
But that was their mistake, I think.
Yeah.
They fucked up doing that.
Everyone's aware now.
They woke up a lot of people. Got a lot of people's brain cells working, and
Yeah, and I always say, listen, we didn't waste our time back then, because if none of us had stood up, fucking hell, I mean, how much further
we'd still be in a lockdown now.
How much further could they have pushed?
They would have brought out a new. I'm telling you, certain people, they would have just done absolutely anything the fucking government told. If Boris Johnson went on the TV and said, "Listen, right, the virus has now evolved. Everyone has to crawl because if you're over a meter, the virus will get you. So you have to crawl." I bet you. I bet you'll go out on the street and there'll be people crawling on the street. I'm telling you.
It sounds mental, but
it would have
happened. That's a fucking stupid. People going to restaurants willingly, walking in there. I remember went to Frankie and Benny's and you got to have your mask on until you sit down.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Oh, what? And then when you get up to go to the toilet, you can put it back on.
Yeah.
People in there
It's
just
trying to make sense of, oh God, man, it was just...
said
it was
people in swimming pools and shit with the fucking mask on. What the fuck?
The whole fucking
mad.
thing was just one big embarrassment for most people, and that, a lot of those people now look back and they're like, oh, you know, they're genuinely embarrassed about how they behave.
Some people try to firm it though. Some people are like, "No, you got to do it."
I used to think that I was a little bit kind of narcissistic in my way of thinking before COVID, because you can call it what you want, like maybe like some people might look at it as like a superiority complex, but I always had it in my head that I live in a world full of fucking idiots. You know, before COVID.
COVID confirmed that, man.
Exactly that. It came to COVID, and I thought, actually, you know what? I've been questioning myself, because I'd always Wick, like, fucking hell, there's something wrong with you, mate. You can't think that, you know, you're fucking more switched on than everyone. Like, that can't be the case. You know, as soon as 2020 come along, mate, exactly, that confirmed it.
Common sense is a rarity, honestly. I had a similar sort of thing to you before then. I used to just sort of give more people the benefit of the doubt for no, you know, genuinely people are, you know, they've got a strong sort of sense of common sense and intelligence or whatever. And I was, after COVID, I was just like, fuck me, man, Jesus, like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, could we get any worse in it? And these days now, nothing surprises me. You know, I'm just like, you know, when you see some shit, I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is, man. But yeah, we're seeing it like even today right now, fuck me, innit? Like, what we're seeing today right now is just madness, innit? Give me your take, Ricky, your take of what's going on at the moment. We're seeing these sorts of fucking, you know, generated race wars that are, you know, they've been orchestrated and everyone's just fucking falling for it, innit? They're all just fucking playing their part in the pantomime.
Even people from our so-called truthers movement, you know, it's split the movement in half. You know, it hasn't just divided the country in terms of what colour you are. As I say, if it's managed to put a wedge between people that have stood together for the last 4 years.
Divided the movement.
So very effective.
And it was so easy as well. Like that's what got me. Like, how easy was it to just put a knife through and just
so fucking easy. Yeah. You know.
What? So who's believing what? Who's believing what's the two sides then? What do you mean?
I can see it for exactly what it is. You know what I mean? The same people that are pulling the strings, you know, Afghanistan, Iraq, same people that are pulling the strings throughout COVID are now pulling the strings with this. As Andrea says, you know, it's just classic divide and conquer. You know,
what do you think they want?
What they want to do is, you know, my opinion on it is to bring chaos to the streets. So that, you know, with the chaos, people will be asking for order out of chaos.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And they will then offer up the solution to this chaos as being, well, okay, well, the best thing that we can do for you is, you know, he's speaking about any Starmer.
He's already literally
widespread use of facial recognition.
No time wasted at all with that.
Absolutely
You dive right in, innit? Jesus.
I did not even think of that. That's what is that what it is?
It's problem solution.
That's exactly all. That's all it is, isn't it? People are out there giving me exactly what they want.
You know, when you say that though, yeah, I know this is mad, yeah, but I just think some people are so smart. That's fucking mad, isn't it? I wish I was that smart, man.
Go ahead, your CV. Give your
Set
CV.
this whole shit up, like, oh wow.
I don't even give them credit for being smart anymore. It's not difficult to be, to even appear smart, you know, if you are in a room full of fucking idiots. And
that's the truth.
What we are living in is, you know, is the world is just a big room full of fucking idiots.
Yeah, so but you know the whole idea to create chaos. The whole thing you said, create chaos so they can create order. So they're creating this problem, so they're like this wide scale problem. And then they're going to be like, yeah, well, let's fix this with facial recognition and IDs and stuff like that. That's
because
madness. And then they got more control. And they got, exactly.
Not only will he not resist it, but he'll be fucking
want it. Yeah,
want it.
So
like, it's a great idea. You know, I have all of this.
It's like COVID all again. Oh, we've got a deadly virus. We want a lockdown. Like they wanted it, bro. Like it was like mad.
People are getting mental if they saw you in the fucking supermarket without a mask. You know what I mean? Like,
where was all the older far lefty liberals then? Like, do you know what I'm saying? They was all about that authoritarian measures. Like, yeah, let's lock down. That's not fucking left. That's fucking right. The left switched to the right. Like, oh, fuck me.
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, don't get me started on the old bloody political compass now. It's
Yeah,
fucking
fucking hell,
nonsense.
because it's a fucked up compass, mate, you know what I mean?
So where did you stand on all this stuff then? All this stuff
I
that's
stay
been going
well
on?
out of it, mate.
Yeah,
I stay well out of it. I see exactly, I see it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not getting involved, mate. For me, as I say, I'm all about just taking care of my own physical health, downstream from that, you know, your mental health, and just making sure that I am as strong in body and mind as possible, so that when the next thing in life does come along, you know, whether that be, you know, climate lockdowns and another kind of COVID scenario, that I'm in the right state of mind and, as I say, state of body to get through it, mate. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything to me what's going on, and there's no reason to be out on the streets fucking going to bash someone up because they're a different colour fucking skin to me. I understand exactly who's pulling all these strings, and you look at this guy. It's all started because somebody went into you know, a dance class up in Southport, started stabbing kids. From what we know of that, you know, the guy wasn't Muslim. The guy wasn't
Well, Tommy
Pakistani.
Robinson apparently spread he spread the thing that he said that the
British
guy
Rwandan.
he was a what do they call it? They're flipping asylum seeker.
Yeah.
And he's Muslim asylum
An
seeker.
illegal,
And he
they
said a
called him
name.
an
They said-
illegal
yeah,
immigrant.
they
I mean,
said-
the media didn't help with that, did they? They're
yeah,
part
they
of the
pushed it
machine.
straight away. They
Exactly.
pushed it straight away. And then afterwards, obviously, this judge has released his full
name.
name, even though he's underage, just to stop the chaos. But it still kicks
What
off
is
somehow.
strange, though, fellas, is that he has previously worked with the BBC.
Yeah, I know.
This
Right?
gentleman's
Yeah,
mad.
God
weird,
knows
isn't it?
what's happened there, innit?
You know,
There's Doctor Who in that.
exactly that. And I am well aware of how our security services work.
Yeah.
You know that with Michael Adebolajo and the other guy that stabbed Lee Rigby, they were being
Stabbed an
hounded.
ex-soldier.
They were being hounded by MI5
Yeah, I see
a
something
long time
about that.
before that happened. And I just can't help but think, do our security services or other such agencies have anything to do with this young man that's gone in and stabbed these kids?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Have they asked him to do that? Have they groomed him to go and do that again? Because out of that event, that incident, you've got everything that is happening now.
Yeah.
You know, this didn't happen by accident. So many people are very naive to think that the government, or whatever you want to call them, the cabal, whatever, that they wait around for these things to happen and then they jump on it. No, they make these things happen so they can
100%,
jump
but
on
that's
it.
not
Do you
to
know what
say
I
they
mean?
don't, you know, if a random event comes up, they won't use it, but you're right,
Exactly
they
that,
definitely they definitely orchestrate shit, 100%.
Yeah. And because we already know that, I mean, it's already been released, isn't it, that he was known to our security services.
Yeah.
So he was on what you might call a watch list, so to speak.
What was he actually? He was on a watch list.
It's concerning for me. Yeah.
He was on a watch
He was
list?
He was known to us.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
So whether he's on a watch list or not, I mean, if you're known to the security services, I assume that you, to an extent,
Whoa, that's
will be
crazy.
being watched,
I
right?
didn't even know that.
I mean, if you're known to a security service, you're known for a reason.
Yeah,
so
You know,
mad.
it's like what the only sort of rational argument that anyone could ever have that this wasn't orchestrated is the guy's got mental health issues. Because nobody in their right fucking mind walks into
Yeah, we fucking- yeah, exactly.
a kid's
We
school
know
and does
that,
something
right?
like that. But let's just talk about this like sensibly now. Like, what's
he's
the
vulnerable, isn't he?
This is what I'm saying.
If he has got mental health issues, who better to groom to do something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that than somebody who maybe isn't of the capacity to think
Yeah.
logically. You know what I mean? They couldn't come and convince one of us three to do that, could they?
Yeah.
But because we're fucking we're sane-minded, apparently.
But it could also just be that he's insane as well, though. No, like you could just roll in there
Exactly.
and go crazy.
That would make him vulnerable, right? Who else are you going to go to? Who else are you going to groom to do something
I
like that?
mean, regardless of what happened, you know, someone made him do it, you know, told him to do it, or whether he just did it on his random own accord or whatever, he would have had to have mental health.
Yeah,
conditions to
100%.
do that.
Yeah,
There's no
100%.
possible way he could have just done that with a fucking normal operating moral compass. It's impossible.
No ways.
Impossible. I mean, unless he was some sort of fucking military operative who's got, like, you know, just being do as you're told, sort of thing.
Well,
but
he's
even
17, isn't it, as well?
This is what I'm saying. It is, yeah. I don't know.
He's young, he's vulnerable. For me, he is the ideal
candidate.
Ideal candidate, exactly.
Why did it? Once everyone found out where he's from and who he was and stuff, why is it still carrying on? Why are the riots still going on? Why
Because they don't care. They wanted just any. It was what's the word? It's just like thin ice just waiting to break, innit? The ice is broken now, and everyone just got like all the idiots waiting to be pushed along. Were pushed along, innit?
Yeah, it's mad.
They were just
people throwing kindling onto the fire and fuel and whatnot. You've got
but then
Tommy
again,
Robinsons and whatnot. He's been a big part of.
Yeah,
he's got a big following.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Andrew Tate the same.
Yeah, I know. They're all
did Andrew Tate start some shit up as well?
Even Elon Musk, bro. Have you seen the tweets?
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking Elon Musk.
Really?
Elon Musk is he's one of the main instigators at the moment, man.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Things like
I
big
didn't see
followings,
none.
don't they?
Yeah.
I've always said, I don't follow anybody. I will make my own mind up on things. It's weak men that need to be led.
Yeah.
And this is what you've got on the street now. These aren't patriots that you've got out on the street. These aren't really anyone that give a fuck. I mean, if so-called fucking patriots are out there, on the streets now. Where were they back in 2020, mate? That's what I'm asking. They're out there now going, save the fucking children. I can't believe you've done this to our fucking kids. And I mean, where were you when the establishment were coming after your fucking children with
mandate?
Call it fucking experimental drug. It's fucking pure
that's mad,
poison.
actually.
Poisoning your children and you were eating it all up. Yeah.
100%. They were sat at home, mate, with a mask on. Do you know what I mean? Visiting their granny, fucking through a pane of glass at the care home, doing what they were told. Walking around Sainsbury's like fucking in single file and.
I think there's a mixture of them at the moment as well. You've got a lot of just kids wanting to, just jump on the old bandwagon and cause trouble. There's a lot of people who are genuinely just unhappy with things, and they might even be unhappy about the right things. They're unhappy with the way the sort of government is treating everybody at the moment. They're unhappy with everything, but they just don't know how to express that at the moment. And,
you got to do it the right way. I can't understand how you're going to hope to kind of bring about any kind of change by nicking steak bakes from Greg's or going into Shoe Zone and fucking taking crops.
You know what? I
don't fucking get
I feel like there might not even be a right or wrong way, but just have some direction because
go to the Home Office.
Yeah. Do you know
to
what I'm saying?
Parliament,
Or just have some sort of, because the media are just jumping on this, right? We got the old far right, Nazis or whatever you want to fucking call them. They're just using this to make their play. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's like you said, it's a mixture, innit? It's a mixture of people that have problems and it's a mixture of people that are just taking advantage of a situation and just going a bit ham, looting and whatever, innit?
Yeah,
it is a mix. You are right. It is a mix, and the media are kind of jumping on it in the sense where
they are absolutely
labelling anyone with an issue now as far right. And I do understand. I'm fully on board with the idea that we cannot let unvetted immigrants into this country. It's dangerous.
It is.
It is fucking dangerous.
Do you know what else is on top of that, which is kind of like, it kind of shocked me a little bit. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to come across, but I'm going to say it anyway. But they put up 240 asylum seekers in the Holiday Inn. Yeah, and how much is a Holiday Inn? About 40, 50, 60 pounds a night.
Spend bare money. Don't worry about that.
That's like $9,000 every 10 days.
Yeah.
And that's 90. No, sorry. It works out to be. I worked it out. It's about £250,000 per month to put them inside.
Hotel.
Yeah,
don't
one
worry,
hotel.
they've got plenty of money for all that.
That's
they'll always
taxpayers'
have money
money,
for
though.
foreign wars, foreign aid, foreign whatever.
That's kind of a bit annoying.
Poverty,
I don't want to say that. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy.
You're
It's
100%
mad.
right, though.
It's also concerned.
£250,000 in one hotel for a load of people that illegally came into the country. What do you mean?
You're 100% right. We do have
what I was
an
thinking as
immigration
well, yeah?
problem here. We have an immigration
age
problem.
men as well, which is concerning.
Exactly. Yeah,
if you were
yeah.
coming in with your listen, if I was
Kids
in
and
a fucking
children.
country that I needed to flee from, for whatever reason, my kids, my wife, girlfriend, whatever, they're going first, mate.
Yeah.
I don't see these hotels are not filled with women and children.
A lot of men.
These are fighting age males. And you just can't think that there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
See,
Another thing is as well. This is going to be a bit of a controversial one as well. But England, the United Kingdom, sorry, we've been to we'll say war with, several countries over the last few decades. We've got like Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, whatever it is. We've bombed the shit out of those countries. We've committed horrible war crimes in those countries. We've killed women, children, men, everything in those countries.
Angry.
Of course they're fucking angry. Of course they're human beings. They have emotions. But then how are we taking them in to the country? And I'm not saying right or wrong or whatever, but just think of this from a sort of like common sense point of view. We're now, say, I don't know, a decade, 2 decades later, taking in these fighting age men from them countries.
Crazy.
Remember, they will hold that heart forever. My daughter was bombed by the United Kingdom, is dead in the ground now. She's just a remainder of bones in the ground. Now I'm coming to this country.
Now, could you imagine sticking
Of course you fucking want revenge.
Could you imagine putting a blue helmet on those men? The UN employing them as soldiers, and then asking them to keep law and order here in some way, shape, or form, or to do anything here in this.
There's no common sense in this.
They're not going to have any kind of issue with dishing out violence
Of course they ain't.
on our soil because you've just hit the nail on the head.
But
This is what I'm saying, and I'm only saying this from a common sense point of view because
dangerous.
it 100% is fucking dangerous.
common sense. It is.
But you got it right there as well. People need to be vetted. We do have an immigration problem in this country, and the people coming in have to be vetted. Innit? How that vetting process goes, I ain't a fucking expert. I don't know, whatever. But they need to be vetted, innit?
That is scary when you think about it. The thing that you're saying though, we're letting in. There's 500 people in a hotel that got through the borders illegally, and they're asylum seekers. How do we know how many of them are actually on madness? Like, just get revenge for whatever.
We don't know, but you can safely
where have
say,
they come from? Like, we don't even know
out
where
of
they
them
come
500, there's going to be at least one man in there that wants to do harm to people in this country. You can safely say that. That's for sure.
Or whether or not
safely
it's
say
a
that.
bad criminal from his own country, whether or not he's trying to get revenge. There's a couple in there, like, and that's kind of mad that we're just
100%.
putting him in a hotel for £250,000 a year. That's kind of mad.
I'm not against.
I mean, a month, £250,000 a month.
Yeah, there's always money for shit apart from our
That's taxpayers'
people
money.
here
That's
that are going
crazy.
through poverty. But look, I'm not against immigration in any way. I am a third generation, British. My grandparents migrated here, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago, whatever it was. And I am technically the grandchild of immigrants. So I'm not against it. But you can't just fucking open up the borders to people that want to come here, sponge the money away and whatever. My grandparents, they came to this country and they fucking worked their absolute asses off for the life I have today, innit? Like, they paid taxes, did all the fucking horrible shit, was a cog in the system, and here I am today, innit? I am the...
That's another thing as well. It's hard for us to have this like kind of perspective here because it almost puts us in the same category as all these people that are like beating up, being super racist on the streets. It's like, I'm not part of them because I believe in the fact that we should have more tighter borders and stuff like that, and we shouldn't just let every asylum seeker in. But I don't want to get lumped in with them kind of people. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like
we're living in a different world today. That's the thing. If we go back 50, 60 years ago when my grandparents came here, the population of this planet was at about 25% to what it is today. What are we at now? Is it 9, 10 billion or something?
8 billion.
8 billion.
We're at 8 billion right now. 50, 60 years ago, we was probably at about 2 billion. I have to double check that figure. I'm sure we could just pull it up.
Yeah, it was just
Because when I was born, we was at about 3.5 billion. And that was in the 85. Like, so, and remember, we hadn't fucking bombed the shit out of half the fucking world back then as well, innit? We didn't have men with hatred in their hearts coming into this country. We just literally had people seeking a better life who wanted to work their way into a better life, innit?
Yeah.
Now we have it's a whole different thing, man. The population of the world is 3 times more than what it was back then at the least. And we have got a lot of people with hatred in their hearts, man.
I didn't even mean that though. I just mean like, this movement, that's trying to close the borders and stuff like that. It's full of a lot of like racist, aggressive,
100%.
There will be.
Like white guys. and I feel like when I say that I want to close the borders and I want to not close the borders, but I want to be more strict on who comes into the country and stuff, I feel like I'm kind of like siding with them.
But that's what the media's doing right now. That's what the media...
They're making it so I can't.
There is an immigration problem. No, I don't have no ways about saying that.
It's a crazy thing.
I said that back in my mayoral campaign, and I'm saying it now, even though immigration isn't part of the sort of like what the mayor gets involved in, but it is a problem in this country and it does need to be dealt with. But it's not. This isn't dealing with it right now. This is something else. You know, plays are being made here, and this situation is being used, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying
Absolutely
that
nothing.
you need to have the safety of the citizens put before anything else. This country wouldn't be what it was today if we didn't have immigration.
Well, I mean, it is dangerous though. Like just thinking of that
We
one
need- we
thing in
need-
common sense.
we
We need.
need immigration.
You know what I think
You know
these
what I mean?
people that are on the roads trying to fight every single coloured person they see, what they need to do, they need to get a boat, they need to go on the borders of the whole of the UK and just monitor that shit and get anyone that they catch on the borders, they should just take them to another country and just let them be asylum seekers over there instead of going on the
You're
streets.
talking about the
and being
Rwanda bill. That's
kind
basically
of.
what the
But
Conservatives.
I'm saying, like, isn't the solution to this shit instead of going on the streets causing havoc and throwing bottles at police and just create a little bit of an organisation. Go around the coast where there's like where there's like, you know, there's holes in our borders or whatever, and just go and monitor that shit and make sure people don't come in, and then catch them and then take them to France or something.
They don't have the intelligence for that, my bro.
Man.
That right there is what
They
you
could
call
get-
They don't
organisation.
have the intelligence.
But maybe they could get. Yeah, actually, I'm checking shit now. I don't even know. There's no point in getting too deep into it.
I mean,
Maybe I should start it. I'll start it.
You're a great idea, but you're asking too much of the old punters who are just jumping on a bandwagon most of the minute.
That's what it is. Most of them are just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
really cared about the safety of the country and they cared about this immigration issue, it wouldn't have taken what's happened in Southport for them to get up off the armchair and start.
Well, it did start from Brexit, though, innit? They were
I
kind
don't know.
of.
They're just jumping on a lot of it's bandwagon, and you see this from both sides as well. You know, like I'm saying sides, but you know, you see the whole sort of Palestine movement. You know, like Free Palestine movement. Fuck, you know, the amount of people jumping on the bandwagon with that, man. Well, you weren't talking about it 10, 20 years ago when I was talking about it. Now all of a sudden it's become almost like the cool thing to do. Support Palestine. They're jumping on a bandwagon. They don't actually genuinely care for the 15,000 plus children that have been, you know, fucking bombed and are dead in Palestine right now. They don't
They've
genuinely
been
care.
persecuted for
It's been going on since
Forever.
fucking nearly 100 years, isn't
of
it?
Israel, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly that. So
Literally. I was talking about this when I was back in uni in 2000 and well, I was there from 2006 to 2009, and I went and scrolled through my Facebook because back then this was, you know, before I was even on Instagram or whatever, and I found the post where I was talking all about it. I was like, look, fuck me, I was talking about this nearly 20 years ago now, like, and people half the people in this Palestine movement weren't even born then, like, and they're jumping on it like it's a trend, man, for a lot of people, sadly.
And awareness though as well. It's just like, you know, like
the awareness is amazing. That's
if you send someone like, so it might be going on, but if you send a video of a child crying because her mum got like blown up or whatever, then it's
Or
going to
even the other
obviously
way round.
it's going to trigger a lot of people in it. I suppose that's the
The
danger.
awareness is so important with that, though. The awareness is important, man, because that's you know, I mean, that's what's really holding things back at the moment for sort of Israel's expansion, isn't it? Because they got the whole world watching them right now.
Yeah, that's mad.
But yeah, this is I don't even want to turn this into the whole fucking Israel versus Palestine right now. But a lot of issues right now, they do kind of stem towards that as well. Even what we were just talking about.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
The old Tommy Robinson and the likes of those, like they are basically for Israel. They're
all backed by Israel.
Zionists, innit? They're backed by Israel. Yeah, a lot of what they do is to help Israel. Before, you know, he calls himself a British, but what he does is he's even said it himself, is to help Israel first.
Everything leads back to Israel. You know, it does. You know, you would look at how Israel was created. It was funded by the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
You know, and you look who the Rothschilds are. And they are one of the families
they run the world
behind everything that's going on today.
They own the financial system, the central banking system that basically controls the planet.
Exactly that.
You even look at the countries, even the countries you were sent to fight wars at. Like, look at the list of all the countries that weren't part of the central banking system, and then you look at the list of countries that the USA and the UK have gone to war with over the last how many years. Like, wow, well, that's a coincidence. They're all the same. Like,
It's mad.
It's fucking mad. Yeah,
Actually mad.
that's a conspiracy theorist.
That is. That's mad. So what are you doing now then? You know, like we've gone through your early career, and we've obviously jumped on the COVID stuff. What are you up to now these days?
The COVID stuff kind of really led to me having my spiritual awakening,
Okay.
I'd probably say. And I had to really do some looking inwards. And I really thought about who I wanted to be. You know what I mean? A lot of people talk about finding out who you are. You know, I'm going to go and do this and I'm going to go find myself. I don't really believe that our mission statement is to find yourself. I think, you know, for me at least, my mission statement is to build myself. Okay. And as I say, I couldn't really look in the mirror. You know, even when I met Andreas, you know, going back 3-4 years ago, I was still fucking smoking 6-7 fucking joints a day and, you know, eating shit, and I understood how the world worked, yeah. I wasn't living in alignment with who I want to be. And I said to myself, March 6th last year, I said, look, you know, after being on a little bit of a seesaw from 2019 of taking care of myself and immersing myself into fitness for 6 months and then going back to drugs for 6 months. That's where it was since 2019 up until last year, really, just a seesaw of...
Okay, back and forward.
Back and forth, yeah. And I said to myself, March 6th last year, I said, look, you know, Rick, if you don't make the decision to throw yourself into the deep end of hard work and try to build yourself into the toughest fucking man you can be, life is always going to be this seesaw, and you're going to spend 6 months feeling like shit and like you're a fucking nobody and you're going to be ashamed of yourself, and the other 6 months you're going to spend feeling all right but not really able to feel proud of yourself because you know that you're not all in. You know that eventually you're going to end up going back to that other person for 6 months.
Yeah.
Right, okay, where can I find pain? I've always been a solid believer that in pain, that's where you will find strength. That's where you will build strength. That's where you will build discipline. So that way of thinking led me into the ultra endurance community. So I said, okay, let's go and fucking start running.
Yeah, that's it.
And lifting some heavy shit.
I can't keep up with him these days. He's doing a marathon or climbing a mountain.
Yeah, I had a look at your Instagram.
Day,
It's
I'm
like
fuck
mad
me.
marathons,
Yeah, so it started off with I ran a fucking ultra marathon. I said technically an ultra.
What's an ultra marathon? What's the difference?
Anything more than the 26.2 mile standard marathon. So,
Okay.
I mean, in the endurance space, a lot of people would consider maybe an ultra marathon to be a 50 miler. You know, some people consider it to be 50 kilometers, which is 31 miles. But for me, I'd say probably around about the 50 mile mark. That's a solid ultra marathon.
That's mad.
So
that's running to Milton
I've never
Keynes.
done that.
yeah.
That's running all the way to Milton Keynes.
Well, I run hundreds
mad.
now.
Oh wow! Oh, serious?
Yeah, I just won 100 miler this weekend. Just gone.
You're not like a super small guy. Like I swear those long marathon runners have to be quite
skinny,
super
yeah.
skinny. And that.
A lot of people say, I don't know if it's like body dysmorphia or something, but I've had a few people say, Rick, you know, you for a big guy, and I'm like, mate, I'm not a big guy. Like fucking hell, I stand next to him. He's a fucking big guy. Do you know what I mean?
He's a giant guy.
You're making me blush now. Stop it, bro.
I've worked with a lot of guys that are fucking big, and maybe that's where it comes from. You know, I don't. I'm not in the gym lifting ridiculously heavy weights like doing powerlifting, and I don't eat the way that you'd have to eat to pack on a shitload of muscle. I understand that it wouldn't be advantageous for me to weigh 16 or 17 stone if I'm running 100-mile fucking races.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just do a lot of body weight work, really. And I do a lot of low weight but high rep work.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll go and stick, 100 kilos on a bar, and I will do 100, 200 reps on the bench. You know, I'm not there lifting, you know, 150 kilos.
Is there a break in between though? Is that just 100
what do you
reps?
mean?
No, there's never 100. Fucking no, I couldn't do 100 reps.
I was about to say that though.
What? Are you talking including the
100
bar?
kilos,
You're talking about
two plates in the bar.
Yeah, 40 on both sides,
yeah,
including the bar. Oh shit!
So
I'm
like maybe
guessing
doing
you
a
do like
100 reps.
sets of 5 and then taking a minute rest and then a set of 5 until you've done it. You stay on the bench until you've done the 100, the 200, whatever it is you're going to do.
You might have body dysmorphia.
Or I go to the pull-up bar and I'll say, okay, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to do 300 or 400 pull-ups. If I'm here for 3 or 4 hours, I'm here for 3 or 4 hours. Once you've ran,
You know.
The look on his face when he said
The other day, I tried to do pull-ups. I did 4 pull-ups. That was my max.
no,
I did 4.
no, you think it's your max.
No, it was at the
Because
time.
when
But
you
I used to
cut
do
that
more and more and more. And
in
that
your
goes
mind, you put that as your ceiling. That's your fucking max, right?
Nah, I think he's just been eating too many.
Yeah, too many.
Mate, your max is so far fucking beyond 4 reps.
No, I know.
You have no
I've been
idea.
able to do like 20 in a row, innit? Like I know I can do it the more I do it. But right now, obviously, I just started doing pull-ups again. I can't do anything more than 4. My arms weren't.
That's just 4 in one go. But if you could say to yourself, look, you know, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm not leaving this bar until 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You've got 4 hours. Now it's not about how many reps can I do in one go. Now it's about you've got 4 fucking hours.
Spacing
and
it
you're
out,
going to stay here, so you might as well make the most of the time.
Yeah,
And I
get what you're
promise you,
saying.
you do that enough times, you're going to come back to the bar, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, and you'll be banging out 30
It's
or
still like that's serious stuff though. Still doing 400 pull-ups and 100 reps on a 40 double.
For me, it's not enough.
on a 100
I'm so
kg.
fucking critical of myself.
Really?
You know, as I said, I've just come off a 100-mile fucking race. We had 11,000 feet of elevation. So that's 11,000 feet of climbing. That's a third of Everest. You know, and it took me 24 hours and 47 minutes to run that race.
That's less
Sorry,
oxygen.
how much did you just say?
24 hours and 47 minutes.
Oh my days.
And anything above 10,000 foot, you are technically dying. There's not enough oxygen above that altitude.
Oh, I don't mean going up. We were up at that altitude. What I mean is in total of like...
All right, so the top was 11.
of like climbing.
So but for about 1,000
It's
foot.
11,000 feet of elevation.
Oh,
So, you
okay.
know, That's the total that you
So for
climb.
maybe an hour or two, you was above that.
Oh,
No, he's saying going up and down. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like
right, okay.
So if you
add it all up,
That's 11,000 feet. Yeah, and then coming down as well. I mean, you can't discount that. You've got 11,000 feet back down as well, and I tell you, they're coming down as
Worse than going up.
I think it is. You know,
Fuckery on your knees and your.
I can hike up fucking hills all day long, but coming down them, you know, and you're running. This isn't running on a road. You're talking about running on trails. So we're talking about gravel pathways. We're talking about woodland. We're talking about going over fucking fields.
No, I know
Step
exactly.
in a rabbit
Do you know
hole,
what,
twist
yeah?
your ankle.
Oh man, yeah, it's a killer for your ankles. You know,
The past 2 years, I've done 2 kind of what I would call extreme hikes, and so I know exactly what you're talking about because I was in Thailand and I was trying to. This lady told us to walk up some hill to get to some place. It was like 5 miles. I think I walked about 500 kilometers, and
500 calories.
No, wait, hold on.
You did not.
Hold on. I definitely didn't walk that long. I meant 500 meters.
That was
Half a kilometer, and my girl said, "Yeah, that my eyes looked like they're going to explode out of my head." I was so wet. My t-shirt was so wet. Yeah, that when we got, by the way, I stopped to get a cab.
I know what you
I stopped
look
to get a
like
cab.
with this.
It looked like I pissed myself, where my t-shirt had just leaked straight through my shit.
that's bad.
And my eyes were bloodshot red. She said it looked like I was going to explode out of my head. I only walked about just uphill for about 500 meters.
That's just over one. I think it must have been more than 500 meters, man.
Bro, it was 5 kilometers to get to the actual place we were trying to get to this statue, and it was probably a little bit more than that. But it was definitely nowhere near. Because when we got the cab, we was driving for
just get a
time.
tuk-tuk after that, yeah?
No, I just got a taxi.
Well, 5k, that's a good 3 miles.
I did about. I'm not even. All right, let me be realistic. I did about 1.5 miles, like pure uphill. No stopping.
That's
like
more than
my heart
500
was. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, but my heart was exploding. Like I had to sit down. Like I said,
man, that's
I was-
2,414 meters.
Yeah, I did
That's
good.
just 2.5k.
All right, so we're about the same then. roughly. Nah, I'm joking, obviously. But I'm basically, I was saying, I know how hard that stuff is.
No,
Like,
it's
just
not-
from
well,
that,
that's why I do it.
yeah, that's
I don't
sick,
find it
though,
easy.
man.
There's nothing. I don't make no. I don't mince my words with that. You know, I will never try to tell anybody, I'm good at that. You know, I'm not fucking good at it. You know what I mean? What is good at it? Maybe running the geezer that run that race this weekend won it, finished the race in 16 hours, I think.
Oh, but mate, that endurance, that mental endurance in itself, like 24 hours of like going that far.
Well, that's
like,
what you'll find. It
crazy.
You will find yourself.
I think I was be screaming in my head, like I wouldn't be able to. I'd lie down in the street, like, and just give up.
Every part of my fucking being, every fibre in my body.
And why did you do this again? Why did you decide to do this? Like, you just wanted to push yourself.
That's it. Yeah. That's to make yourself strong.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put yourself into a place that's fucking uncomfortable. You're never ever. How are you gonna put yourself into a place that's comfortable and turn yourself into this machine that can withstand anything in his mind? You're not. You have to go to a really fucking dark place, and I promise you that 100 miles over 24 hours and 11,000 feet of climbing,
gonna do it.
You'll fucking find that dark place. You will find it there, my friend.
The relief at the end of it must be mad.
Well, that's it, and
euphoric.
That's it. You get to exactly euphoric. It's delayed gratification, and not enough men practice delayed gratification.
They just want gratification right now.
That's what we were talking about with the drugs. You know, they want that instant kind of dopamine hit.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get that dopamine hit in a 100-mile race until you cross the fucking finish line.
Bro,
It's a long way.
your explanation is making me want to go for a run tonight. Like I might just push myself tonight. Like,
Don't do it.
Yeah, I'll put it.
Because there's nothing special.
Send you a video. I feel like doing that for
nothing
real.
fucking special about me.
There's a little bit.
No, there's nothing special about me. And people like to sometimes put that label on me and say, "Oh, Rick's a little bit fucking mad." You know, he's just got this strength up there, mate. I had to fucking build that strength.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you could have seen the way that I was living my life 7 or 8 years ago, mate, nobody wanted to be me.
Yeah. That's sick though,
Nobody wanted
man.
to be me.
That's sick though. That's a good journey you've had.
Decision. You're one decision away from changing the trajectory of your entire life. You've got to be fucking honest with yourself about who you are and who you want to be.
I fucking love that. I love that. That's
good. We're gonna put that into a snippet.
That could be.
That's really where. But you've got to be honest about where you are now.
Yeah, that's sick, man. That's
Where
very
you are now is
motivational.
as important as where you want to go.
Yeah.
And you can do it at any time, though, right? There's no one. You're never a write-off.
Doing it right away.
You're never, mate.
You're never
You're never a write-off, man. As long as you can get up in the morning and you can
got
fucking
legs,
walk,
you got
and
feet.
you've got air in your lungs, you can do it. Just know this. I promise you that there's someone in a fucking hospital bed right now, yeah, and they're fucked, and they are just fucking praying to God for the opportunity to be able to get up and do what you and me can do right now. Just get up and fucking walk. Just get up and run. So it's like, you know, we're really lucky.
Yeah.
You know, really got to think about where we want to be later on in your life. Like when I'm 70 and 80 years old, I'm going to be running around with my grandchildren. I'm still going to be running 100-mile fucking races when I'm 70 or 80 years old.
It's mad.
If your knees allow.
But because I make the decision to do it and never stop. Exactly. If my knees will allow, my knees will always allow me as long as I carry on doing what I'm doing. So I'm gonna be able to enjoy life later on when most people my age are
They'd be
probably
fucked.
getting the fucking arse wiped for them in a care home.
I fucking love that, bro.
Yeah, man. It's very motivational.
Jesus, that was a good one.
And that's the way I live life now. You know what I mean? And I would never go back. Yeah, it's painful. It's painful what I do, but you know, it comes with a lot of reward.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. It's very motivational. I'm going to be going for a run tonight.
So yeah, Rick, my bro, one thing we do at the end of every podcast, and I think you've probably got fucking loads of these now. I think we got a couple from you anyway. So give us it can be you can say anything you want, but give us your sort of like, it can be, you know, a paragraph, a sentence or whatever, an inspirational quote or something you live by or anything, you know, something you want to motivate people by or just literally anything you want, you know, some words you live by or anything. Give us your punchline, give us your...
Yeah, so the one kind of mantra that I try to live by now, I heard this on Chris Williamson's podcast, actually. And he said that confidence doesn't come from shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by building a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
Yeah, that
Damn.
I like that. It sounds like to me, you know, actions are more important than words, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know,
yeah. And
confidence will only come from sticking to what you said you say you're going to do. You know, every time that you say you're going to do something, especially to yourself, it doesn't matter whether you tell the world or whether, even if you just tell yourself, I'm going to do something. Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, that will chip away at your confidence, and you'll lose respect for yourself. Every time you tell yourself that you're going to go and do something, follow fucking through with it, because every time that you do that, that's where the confidence is. That's where the confidence grows. That's where the belief in yourself grows and your respect for yourself grows. If you can turn doing what you say you're going to do into a habit, the things that you say you're going to do will progress from things that are that fucking big to this fucking big. And that's very powerful, because it may start off with, okay, I'm going to go and clean my fucking room today. 5 years later, you created a habit of following through with what you say you're going to do. You might say, you know, maybe not in 5 years, maybe a year,
I'm going to build a house.
I'm going to build a fucking house. I'm going to start a business. Well, listen, for the last fucking 12 months, 18 months, whatever, you have done absolutely everything you said you're going to do. What do you think? Well, that's going to be the one time that you don't do it? No, you're going to fucking go ahead and do it. You can change your life by doing that.
I better not say this one to my missus, because it's going to get me in some shit. My missus hears this one. But yeah, I fucking love that. That boils that goes back to what I said about you right at the beginning of this podcast. You're a man of actions and no words. Like you're the opposite of most people. You know, most people are all too much talk, no action. You're definitely the opposite. So that's
why you never see me on Instagram chucking out loads of fucking content and making reels and showing people this is fucking what I had for breakfast, and then I went, yeah, listen, I'm not really about that life. I'll just put a post up every now and again and tell you what I did.
Look, I just climbed the mountain.
I'm too fucking busy. I'm too busy just working.
Yeah, that's you. Right, the next thing everyone got to do before they leave the podcast, you know my thing when I say, hey, come on, you got to say it.
Just like you?
Yeah, well, however you want. Do it however you
listen,
want.
If people that know me well know that I don't want to say, you know, big-headed, but other people tell me I'm quite a good impersonator. So
Go on, do the impersonator.
Into that camera.
Into which camera? Left or right?
The left.
The left one. Hey, come on. Is that good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's perfect, brother.
All right. Nice one.
Thank you, my brother. It's been amazing.
Been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure with you, brother. Yeah, that was wicked.
That's
one, Rick.